Hello guys, welcome to the Trading Parrot. We're gonna do a very quick update on SUI. After all, there is two bullish news. There's a potential for a weekly breakout out of a descending broadening wedge, but we need to keep an eye with this breakdown as well from the RSI. Longs have been evacuating the SUI ecosystem since around November, and we could be seeing a shift in here, not just from the point of view of the delta, but also from the point of view of social metrics. Guys, if you like this type of content, make sure that you are subscribed to the channel. Hit the notification bell to get notified every time I put out one of these videos. And of course, this is a video about altcoins, so the more likes, the more comments, the more motivated I am every day to add new value with major altcoins. If you want to trade altcoins, Tubit has support for 1,000 trading pairs, 200 leverage, and over 20 billion in daily trading volume. Why considering Tubit? Well, it's non-KYC, it operates everywhere in the world except for China. It takes 2 minutes to register, and if you use the link in the description, even before depositing, you're gonna get $50 for free. Now, if you deposit and you trade with volume, you can get up to 30,000 in rewards. By doing so, you're definitely helping the channel. Let's do a recap on the weekly on SUI. It's been a disappointing swing on the weekly. We were expecting to repeat the same shape that we have into February in 2024. Later in December 2024, we speculate that we could potentially have gotten a move into RSIs of 80s. After all, the shape is still in an uptrend. The channel shows higher highs and higher lows, but we are seeing a little bit of a turmoil in here. Right after starting this move up into RSIs of 60, we saw a breakdown on the weekly. Now what we are envisioning and what we need to really keep an eye for is if we manage to hit this as a revenge rally resistance of 58 RSI with a price of around $3.8, are we gonna be able to sustain that move to the upside, given that we have already taken a big hit in here? You can also see that this retracement has gone beyond the golden pocket. It has found support around $2.3. The most bullish support will have been if we defend 2.7, but we didn't. We are within a squeeze in the weekly. This is the perfect symmetrical triangle squeeze, and we are bouncing off support. So the most typical scenario will be to face the resistance of 3.5 and possibly break out or do an intra-candle pinch into 3.8. At that point, we're gonna be looking like we are either reclaiming the lost support or just getting a rejection from the lost support. That's how important it is to monitor that weekly RSI of 58. When it comes to longs versus shorts, we are in an area of value in here. This was previous resistance, and now if we turn that ratio of longs versus shorts of 40, we could also produce a breakout. A breakout from here could bring us into longs versus shorts 49, which was the support of all the bull market before we lost that overextended move down. So coming back here into the scene of the crime is probably gonna help getting us into that 3.8 target. Now, social media is at an all-time high, so we need to be prepared at the moment for maybe additional volatility, profit taking, and maybe since SUI seems to be in a channel up in terms of popularity, maybe, pullbacks, but still in a channel to the upside. This divergence could bring back potentially SUI into new highs. That's the exciting part. But at the moment, we need to really repair the damage of the momentum lost. That is currently the thing that is arm wrestling against the socials and the potential comeback of the longs that's starting to leave the space from 18 of November, one high right before the all-time high. At that point, they started the distribution, and so far there hasn't been any single comeback substantial of longs. And that's why I'm monitoring that RSI of 40, which should provide some support. Ideally, we do not want to lose the weekly support of this white line either. Lose the $2.4 could break even further the weekly structure. In case we did, well, we have that support of the $2, which is also psychological level. If we manage to get out from this squeeze to the upside, we have the target of 1 in the Fibonacci retracement that puts the price at 6.7, followed by 9.7 when we get to the golden pocket. Looking at the daily time frame together with the liquidity pools, a very interesting pattern I found this morning that I didn't notice before. I used to have the pattern like this, like a parallel channel, but I decided that this one was most significant significant because of the number of touches. If we use this area in here, we don't have any point of touch within a long term up until we get there. So I decided that this is more significant at the moment, and that puts the price right there at the final resistance in the price. Notice that the RSI has already broken out the equivalent level. We are already in a mini rally in here, and we are risking potentially a first bullet on the RSI, not respecting that level. Actually, it's not the first bullet, because the first one we could say it was this one, but I was forgiving and I decided to place the line like that and say that that is the actual pivot. But if that is the pivot, then this one could potentially today be a pivot that breaks below the first line of defense of this rally, and that could be a consequence that we are finding this resistance a little bit too tough to beat. But the breakout on the RSI says we should be able to break it because the RSI has already done it. This line descending in here is the equivalent one of that one, and is telling us the story that in the future we should be able to do it. Now, this line supporting in here is equivalent in the price to this line supporting there. So if this manages to close below the yellow one, the price could potentially follow up with a breakdown in here too. There are two antagonistic forces. It's very frustrating, but that is the world of trading. You have a few data points sustaining a potential breakout into the upside into levels of 3.5, 3.8 in the immediate term. Those are both with mild liquidity. The actual larger liquidity is currently located beyond $4 at 4.3, starting with into 4.7. Below the price, we could say that the risk is that $2.2 that form during this rally. This inside the broadening descending wedge is a bear flag, right? So we have right here a bear flag that has formed like this. With this line, probably can take the price into the risk of 1.516. That is the risk at the moment of the failure. I don't think we can meet again with the descending broadening wedge, so I'm just gonna leave it like that. But the largest risk at the moment is 1.6, and a smaller one with a potential double bottom, if we could do that setup as well. In case we fail from that, I'm just speculating, with a double bottom at $2.2, that will also do and live within the descending broadening wedge as well, in case we needed more time. I'm just saying, if we manage to hold this line and continue with the rally, that is gonna look pretty impressive, and it's gonna bring back the longs versus shorts into the next resistance of 50, and potentially we can meet with that revenge rally into RSI 58 on the weekly with a corresponding $3.8. Let's look at the news, and let's look at how things are looking in the blockchain as well. Both things are really important to keep an eye for. In general, everything is looking just normal, neutral, or green. There is nothing at the moment in this dashboard, which is the basic one on CryptoQuant, showing us anything to worry about in the short term. When it comes to news, we got one bullish news 7 out of 10 that says that the SUI price forms a bullish flag near support. It's a $5-3 surge next. This is coming apparently from multiple analysts highlighting a textbook bullish flag. And then we have a moderately bullish news that says that SUI enters DeFi trading value lock top 10 as capital flows in. DeFi Llama data shows SUI total value lock hitting 185 billion, ranking 9th network-wide. That's pretty impressive. Some other contenders that are being mentioned are Ethereum, Solana, Bitcoin, Binance Chain, and Tron. And we have also a bearish news that we need to have a look that says 3 out of 10. SUI is nearing a death cross with a 35% crash scenario. Technical desk warns the 50 and 200 daily moving averages exponential may cross bearish, and that could bring the price back into 1.9 or 2.2. I covered that liquidity that is sitting there. If we did that, we are gonna produce a double bottom. I think that since it's still within the pattern, could potentially be the final breakout. If it's not this, it should be this one in here, unless there is something really wrong with the network or Bitcoin tops and starts crashing. Something like that could bring the 1.5, which is a little bit more of a horror scenario because we have already dropped down 47, so going into 1.5, that's a 64, but nothing that SUI hasn't done before. You can see as well in here some confluence in the liquidity heat map. It shows the 3.7 level with liquidation in the short term and the level of 4.3, all belonging to that revenge rally on the weekly. Thanks so much for watching this video. If you haven't hit the like or written any comment down below, thanks so much for doing that before you leave. I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.